Now that you have read through the material on teaching the HOTS explicitly and watched a few webcasts, I would like to take that knowledge and make it practical for your classroom. It is not enough to show a YouTube clip and say, okay, that was the HOTS of inferring. Here is the definition of the skill. Now write it down in your notebooks. For some reason, we think that that is enough. However, I'd like to give you some tips for doing it more meaningfully. First of all, let us rediscover our own enthusiasm. Literature is fun. It should be fun. It is different from a regular unit of advice in a textbook. It can be played out and argued about. There is no one single correct answer. So, as we are planning our teaching, let us remember that literature should be fun and engaging. It should not be a nightmare for you or for your students. The idea of teaching students to think is one that has been researched for the past 20 years. Why can our students not think, but only reiterate what they have learned by heart? Lately, around the world, people have realized that teaching them to think in a way that they think and not the way that we think may be more effective. All of the rules of teaching, which we have held for decades, may no longer be relevant to the student or meaningful to him or her, for that matter. We need to change our methods in order to be memorable and meaningful to our students today. This will spark enthusiasm and motivation in your students. It is not just our job to relate information to our students. We must activate their learning and make it memorable in order for the skills to be learned, filed away in an accessible place, and easily transferred to other areas of their lives. In order to ensure that the student will file it away where it can be found and used later on, it must be memorable and relevant. Memorable may mean classifying candies or wearing a costume in class. It may mean bringing a balloon to class or allowing them to compare and contrast their favorite pop stars using YouTube. They are memorable because they speak the student's language and not English teacher language. What is relevant to us is probably not relevant to them. We need to think of what is meaningful to our students. When you participate in a course and the lecturer walks in and says, "Good morning, open your books to page 64 and do exercise 4, which is about uncovering motives. Why do people do things? I will be walking around to help you." What do you automatically think? Boring. If the lecturer had come in with a red clown nose and a rubber chicken and said, "Okay, today we will learn about uncovering motives by using the old and classic joke, 'Why did the chicken cross the road?' Everyone think of a good ending to this joke." You would be instantly more attentive, motivated, and even inspired to come up with the best motive for the chicken. You would also never forget the day your teacher came in with a rubber chicken and you learned about people's motives. You would probably also remember it in a year's time when thinking about why your parents wouldn't let you take the car to the party about 50 kilometers away. Speaking at the front of the class or holding a class discussion with only part of your class will teach some of your students, but unless each student is an active participant in the lesson, they will not remember it or be able to use anything they've learned in the future. Activating your students is very important in your classroom in general, but it is especially important in teaching thinking skills. Each student thinks and processes what you do in the classroom differently, and since you cannot provide for each student's individual process, all students need to be activated individually for that to happen. Class discussion only reaches about a third or less of your class, the ones who are confident enough to actually speak up in class. The rest of the students are passively attentive at best, and at worst, playing Candy Crush under the table. This is a global thing. Don't take it personally. In order to truly teach anything, but especially thinking skills in any class and on any level, students must be activated. They must try it out themselves. They must feel their learning. Make sure that the activity that you choose to teach, the HOTS, will allow each of the students a chance to be active in the session. Remember, it's all about engaging your students, being relevant to their world, and making the lesson memorable. It can be incredibly fun and rewarding for us as teachers as well. I thank you for watching. I hope this webcast has inspired and enthused you to try out new things in your classroom, especially when explicitly teaching the HOTS in your classes, whichever they may be. Good luck and have fun.